Hi, everybody. It's Zeke, and I'm back. Yes, I've been in the Ohio Territory for quite a while, and I'm glad that my cousin, Captain O'Meyer, stepped in for me. Did you enjoy him? He is quite a character now. Yes, he is. I don't know where he's at right now. You know, he's a privateer because he's got his own ship. Did he tell you what his name was? The Seahawk. Yes, it's called the Seahawk. I'm glad he got to talk to you for a little while. He's a busy, busy man. Yes, he is. Maybe a little hard to understand once in a while. Not like your old friend Zeke here. We just talk normal English, don't we? Well, best I can do. But you know, when I was in that Ohio territory, I picked up a few things that I thought maybe you would like to see. Yeah. You see, I'm wearing my coyote hat today. Well, you know, it takes a while to make a coyote hat. First of all, you got to catch yourself a coyote any way you can, but you want to make sure he's dead once you start putting him on your head. Otherwise, he really scratches. Let me show you what it looked like before he looked like this. Here it is. He looked like this. It could almost be cousins, couldn't they now? There's little feet, and look at that here tail. Look at that now. Look at that tail. There you go. All right, so he looked like this before he looked like this. So maybe I'll make myself another hat. Oh, or maybe some kind of a gun cover, or some kind of a satchel or something I can use with it. And I also picked up this. You know, the Indians have a lot of different rituals and ceremonies out there, and they let me have this rattle. It was made from a turtle. Now, you know what's inside of a turtle shell? The turtle. Yeah. So what do you do with the turtle? Well, you make turtle soup out of them. And turtle soup's okay. Yes, it is. I've had it. It's good. Um, but they take the turtle shell and they put it on a stick and they put some beans inside of it. And the beans get hard and it looks a little like this. You see that? Here's the underbelly. And then when you shake it, you hear that? Isn't that something? Isn't that something? So that's one of their rattles that they use in the ceremonies. I was really honored to get it because they gave it to old Zeke. I was with the Shawnee Indians. You ever heard the Shawnees? Ooh, man, they are some nice people now. So they also gave me something else to show you. They said, you go back and show these kids this. You know, they like to grow crops, and they grow beans and corn, squash, things like that. But how do they get the soil so nice? Well, they use one of these here. This is a farming tool. You dig in the dirt with it. Now it's made out of a deer shoulder. You understand? Here's where it goes into the neck. This is out the part where it goes into eventually their legs. And they take some sinew that's wrapped with your muscles. And once it's dry and they wrap it around that here stick, you can see that. It's a pretty good tool. Here's how long she is. Now all they got to do is dig with it, start planting that corn, and waiting for harvest time. So anything can be used as tools. They are some smart people. They are real smart people. Eventually, some of us are going to catch on to that. Yes, we will. So let's go back and talk a little bit about what we were leaving on. Thomas Jefferson, President Jefferson. President Jefferson, you know, he had already run for 2 terms. His term was up now. Is he going to run for a third one? No. He says no. Matter of fact, he said, I'll be more like President Washington than I will anybody else. I'm going for 2 terms. Now, you know, President Adams only went for 1 term. Washington went for 2. So Jefferson's going for 2. Could he go for 3? He could go for 4 if he wants to. There was nothing in the Constitution about it. But here's what he said about giving up that power. He said, I want to get back to my family, to my books, to my farm. Never did a prisoner released from chains feel such a relief as I shall on shaking off these shackles of power. I'm done with it. There's just too much problems here. It ain't easy. It ain't easy being president. No, it isn't. It's a hard task to do. So Jefferson said, let's let somebody else do it. I've had enough. Now, he would write his own epitaph. Do you know what an epitaph is? That's what they put on your tombstone. Now, he wasn't dead yet. He wouldn't die until 1826. But here's what he would write, and it is on his tombstone because I've seen it. Oh, yes, I've been there. I've been to Monticello. I've seen it. Here's what it says: Author of the Declaration of Independence, of the Statute of Virginia for Religious Freedom, and father of the University of Virginia. Well, now, Tom, I think he might be missing something. Something pretty important. How about the third president of these here US of A? It's not on there, folks. No, it isn't. It's not on there. And why? I don't know. But I can speculate, and I'm going to tell you what I think. You see, being president of these here United States, you got to be voted for. That's something that's out of your control. But the other things that he did was in his control, and he did it on his own. So I felt that he felt that maybe that was his accomplishments. He did a lot of things when he was president. Oh my goodness, doubled the size of the United States. Remember Lewis and Clark? All that trip out there? He did an awful lot of good things. But it's not on his tombstone. So let's go who's next in line. That's James Madison. You know, James Madison and Thomas Jefferson thought a lot alike. They sure did. And he wanted to remain neutral and follow the ideals that Jefferson had already laid out, but there's going to be some circumstances where he's going to have to change that. He just can't be like Jefferson was. Now, what kind of person was he? Well, how many of you out there are 5'4" tall? Anybody? 5'4" tall? He was 5'4" tall. Wow, that's a small man. That's a full-size, full-grown man. And how many of you weigh about 100 pounds? 100 pounds now. He only weighed 100 pounds. He was a small man. I've killed deer that weigh more than 100 pounds. Yes, I have. And he was just a little bitty man, but I'm going to tell you what, he was smart right there. Yes, he was very, very smart. Don't forget what they called him: the father of the Constitution. The father of the Constitution. Remember, he came to the Constitutional Convention now, and he had it all written out already called the Virginia Plan. He said, I've already got it all here, folks. Let's just do this. Well, they didn't do exactly that, but they used a lot of the Virginia Plan. Madison was a smart, smart man. Yes, very smart, and a good president. He was a good president. Now, that Non-Intercourse Act that they used to counteract the Embargo Act that Jefferson got rid of, the economy started picking up. Yes, it did. Start picking up. But England and France were still attacking our ships and oppressing our sailors. That's no good. You can't have that. So Macon's Bill number 2 came out under Madison. Remember what it was? Let me refresh it a little bit. What it was if either one of them countries, France or England, would respect the United States of America as a country and stop attacking our ships and stop oppressing our sailors, then we will trade with you and not trade with the other. So we're giving them a chance. Which one's going to take the deal? One of them's got to take the deal. Napoleon, he sees the deal is a good deal. He likes America. You know why? Money. Everything comes down to money. Everything comes down to money. So he tells America, I will take that deal. I will take your hand and we will trade. And I promise we will not attack any more of your ships or take any of your sailors as prisoners. We like that. So Madison said, let's do the deal. Now, what about England? Madison gave Great Britain another chance. They saw Napoleon took the deal and said, will you take the deal? I think maybe they thought it was a trick, fake news, something. But England said, Nah, we're not taking the deal. We're not going to take the deal. All right, don't take the deal then. Well, there was a lot of conflicts going on. It would lead the United States and England closer to a war. Why? Because they keep attacking our ships. That's why. Now in the Ohio Valley, it wasn't hard to see that it was the British that were coming down from Canada and the Great Lakes and in the Ohio Valley, and they were giving weapons, guns, and ammunition to the Indians. That's right. Now, what in the world are they doing there? 1783, in that Treaty of Paris, it said the English are supposed to leave the Northwest Territory. They didn't. They were supposed to leave all of North America, and they didn't. They still had forts in Northwest Territory, in Ohio, up around the Great Lakes. They didn't leave. Well, Jay Treaty came along when President Washington was president, and one of the stipulations was that Britain will leave Northwest Territory again. Guess what? They didn't leave. No, they did not leave. Instead, what they're doing is giving weapons and ammunition to Native Americans in Northwest Territory. Why? To stop the settlers from coming over the Appalachian Mountains. Well, we own the land. We fought a war for that. Hello? Here's what they figured. If they can get the Indians to kill all the settlers coming over and cause a lot of trouble, there may be a war there. And they'll just keep supplying the weapons, supplying the weapons, supplying the weapons, and pick up the pieces later. What does the British actually want? Here's the secret. They want America back. They want the 13 colonies back that we call the 13 states, which are now almost 17 states. They want it all back. They didn't give up yet. They are some sneaky, sneaky people. You end up loving to hate the British. Yes, you do. And they're just using them Indians. Well, I'm sure they made some kind of deal with them that they would give them some land. Well, of course. You think they'll keep the deal? I don't think so. Because the British don't like Indians. No, they don't. They surely don't. No matter how much deals they make, they still think they're savages. Well, let's talk about one of them there savages. Not much of a savage, really. Because this is a man that would be born 1768 in the place that we call Ohio, down around Chillicothe, way down south in Ohio, down by the Ohio River. He was a Shawnee Indian, people of the South Winds, Shawandase, Shawandase, people of the South Wind. His father was a chief of one of the tribes that they had there, the Shawnee, and he would fight using them English guns any settlers that would come across into the Appalachians, across the Appalachians into that land. Unfortunately, he would be killed in one of these raids, one of these battles that he was in. A place called Point Pleasant. Point Pleasant. Uh, that was in 1779, and Tecumseh was only about 11 years old, 10, 11 years old. He saw his dad leave. Yes, he did. Didn't know he'd never come back. Now, Tecumseh would end up being with his mother. And let me try to tell you what his mother and father's real names were. This is a little hard for me because I speak such great English, okay? But I don't speak as good Shawnee. His father's name was Punxingwa, and his mother was Methosake. Methosake. I hope I'm saying those right. I'm sorry, folks, if I'm not, but it's the best I can do. Now, he would be raised by his mother. She had a few other children too. Jessica was her older son. He kind of watched after Tecumseh. Tecumseh was her oldest daughter, right around Tecumseh's age. And Lalawathika, there was triplets. One of them died. One of them would later be killed. And Lalawathika would be the only one left. Right? His name would change after a while to Tensquantawa. Tensquantawa. So let's think. Lalawathika, Tensquantawa. There's a meaning to each of these names. Okay? Tecumseh means shooting star or the eye of the panther. As he was born, a shooting star went across. His father saw that. They named him after that. Shooting star, the eye of the panther. He would be a great warrior one day. And you know what? His dad was right. He is a great warrior, one of the best. He is one of the greatest Indian chiefs and warriors of all time, especially in this here part of the country. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I got to be with those people. Nice people. Very nice people. Now, why are they so intent on wanting to stop settlers coming over here? We'll get back to the Tecumseh for a second. Because the more settlers that come over the Appalachian Mountains are cutting down trees, cutting down forests to make their cabins, to clear land, to make planting for their crops. You know, there's animals that live in those woods. So the animals have to start running, and they start running west. Now, if the Native Americans want to eat, they got to follow their food. Nobody's bringing them no food. And so they follow their food west. And they're just about getting tired of doing that. So either they keep going west, past the Mississippi River, or they stay and fight. Well, some of them do go west, and they go pretty far west to a place called Missouri on the Missouri River. Some of them stay here. Yes, they do. So, Tecumseh's first battle was in 1782 in Ohio. 1782. He was just a teenager, and his brother Jessica was one of the leaders. They took the men, and they saw some pioneers, some hunters, a few military men, and they killed them all. Yes, they killed all of them. I hate to say it, but they did. And what did Tecumseh do? He did not join in. No, he threw his rifle down and he tailed it all the way back to camp. He was embarrassed. Yes, he was. He was very embarrassed. Here he is. He's a son of a war chief. His brother's a great warrior. And now here he is, a fraidy cat. Well, Black Kettle, about his father's age, Black Kettle went and sat by him and said, "What's wrong with you?" He said, "I'm a disgrace. I am a disgrace. I ran in battle." He said, "Well," he said, "I know somebody that ran in battle." He said, "He turned out to be a great warrior. It was your father." Oh, Tecumseh thought, my father would never do something like that. Well, guess what? He did. It ain't easy killing somebody, folks. Hopefully you never do that. But in battle, it just happens because war means fight. Fighting means killing. And they got to killing. And he didn't like what he saw, and he didn't like the brutality of either side. Either side. Just didn't like it. But his brother came calling on him again. Yes, he did. "I need you to come with me," he said. "Why would you want me? I'm a scaredy cat. I ran away," he says. "Because we need you, that's why." So the next battle, the next one, came upon some men, traders, camping out. Tecumseh killed 5 men that day. 5 men. 5 men. His brother Chasika was so impressed, he gave him his father's war club. He said, Father would want you to have this little turtle. Want you to have this. He knew Tecumseh was going to be a great warrior one day. He had a good start right now. So let's go on from there. They start to protect their land now. And Tecumseh and his brother were becoming great warriors. Now let's get back to Lelewathika. I'll tell you a little story. I'm not going to tell you a lot, but I could tell you a few stories I heard around the campfire, okay? Lelewathika, well, when he was little, and Tecumseh was little, Tecumseh was a little bit older than he was. They were out in the woods, and Tecumseh thought that it was his responsibility to teach his brother how to use a bow and arrow to survive, to hunt with, to catch things like this. So he's showing him how to use the bow and arrow and to pull it back, you understand? And he said, pull it back harder, and when it did, something snapped, and a piece went right into his eye. I believe it was his left eye. Well, it didn't kill him, but he took him back to camp. And he waited outside till his mother came out and said, well, the boy's going to live, but he lost that eye. Yes, he did. He lost that eye. And Tecumseh said, it's all my fault. It's all my fault now that he'll never be the man he's supposed to be. She said, it is not your fault. It is not your fault. He is not the man that you are. Now, you just forget about that nonsense. Well, I think he did all right for himself for a while, but he never really went on very many hunting parties. No, he stayed in camp with the ladies. And don't think that's an easy job, folks. You girls out there, woo, if you were a Native American, you had it tough because you ran the camp. You set up teepees, you set up the household, you made all the cooking, you did everything. You tanned all the hides once they caught things like this. Who do you think tanned all the hides like this? The women did, and they made the clothes. So he learned how to do all that. Well, as the British and the Americans were trading with these people, they traded them something they shouldn't have traded with, and that was alcohol, whiskey, moonshine, to get their fancy clothes, to get fancy beads, things like that. And they started drinking. The Indians started drinking this stuff, and Lelewathika took a liking to it, too much of a liking to it, where he was a knocked down drunk. Yes, he was. Knocked down drunk. One day, he was about ready to fix him to die. Now, this is the story I heard, so let me try to tell you and see if it's right. Tecumseh, his sister, and Tecumseh were at his bedside. Tecumseh said, he's dying. Alcohol poisoning. That's what it was. He just drank himself to death. Can you do that? Yes, you can. Drinking is not good for anybody. Ever. Ever. So he's drinking himself to death and he's dying. And all of a sudden, between all the sweating and all the moaning and the groaning, he kind of comes out of it. Why? I don't know. But he realized something. The name Lelewathika, he said, means loud noise. Because the boy cried a lot. He made a lot of noise, okay? That's why they called him Lelewathika. He said, the spirit warriors came for me. And the great God, Wishimanatu, told me I will no longer be called loud noise, but I will be somebody for the people. I will be somebody to lead the people. And I will now be called Open Door. Tenskwatawa, Open Door. He became a prophet. You know what a prophet is? He's a spiritual shaman, spiritual leader that leads the people. And they can see the future. Yes, they can. That's what they say. That's what a shaman does. Comes up with different cures for things and sees the future of things. Well, Tecumseh decided that he's going to make a move now, and there's only one way to get people to listen. He's going to go to every Native American tribe in these here east coast of America here, and get them all to join together to fight the Americans. Take a stand. Take a stand and take your land back. And his brother is going to help him. You know what they call Tenskwatawa now? The prophet. They call him the prophet. Now, how do people really know he's a prophet? He tells them some things that come true. He does. He tells them some things that come true. You watch. You watch what's going to happen now. So they go from town to town to town. Well, a village, I should say, not really towns. And they talk about their forefathers and how the white settlers are plowing up the bones. Do you want that to happen to yours, they say? And we need to bind together. Now, some of these Native American tribes did not like each other, and they had heard about Tecumseh, and they respected him. They might not have liked the Shawnee, like the Miami and the Shawnee did not get along, but you know what? They led him into the camp with the prophet, and they preached, and they talked, and they started getting a following. So they realized they had to have some place where they could all meet. And this was a place they would call Prophetstown. Prophetstown. It was right on the other side of Ohio in a place called Indiana. Prophetstown. And many people, many natives would come to that place, Prophetstown, to see the prophet and to see Tecumseh, if they were there. But it was a place where everybody was welcome, no matter what tribe you belonged to. They even welcomed me there. Yes, I was there. I was there. I wasn't causing any harm, and I wasn't taking back any secrets. Okay? I was just there to trade. They know old Zeke is okay. Old Zeke isn't gonna put him under the carriage. No, I'm not. So I was there. I met Tecumseh, and I met the prophet, and I talked with them. Very interesting people. Very interesting. And you know what? Tecumseh had something they call charisma. Charisma. In other words, he could talk and people would listen because he made sense. Yes, he did. He made sense. Now, they started to get more and more people to join, and there was a governor in Ohio, military governor now, named William Henry Harrison. William Henry Harrison. And William Henry Harrison's job was to rid the territory of all Indians. All. And he had heard that they were all binding together. How far down did Tecumseh go in this here United States? All the way down to the Seminoles in Florida. All the way down to Florida. Wow. There was an awful lot of them. Yes, there was. And Harrison knew he had to snip this in the bud, or else there was going to be a big war and a lot of people were going to die. If it would all happen the way it would happen, the Indians could walk right across the Appalachians and push us right into the Atlantic Ocean. They had the numbers. They did. But there would be another battle, Battle of Fallen Timbers. In the Battle of Fallen Timbers, the British said, we're going to help you with that now. We want you to attack. And they attacked General Anthony Wayne. General Anthony Wayne. It was okay for a while in that battle. And then the Indians started getting pushed back. It was a trap. They got stuck in a trap, folks. Yes, they did. They sent out the militia first, and right behind them was the American Army. William Henry Harrison. He was coming after them. And they got set up in a trap, And the Indians sent somebody back to the British and said, "We will fight behind your walls, behind your fort." And you know what the British said? "We don't know who you are. We're not helping you." They turned their backs on them. Are you starting to love to hate the British already? They turn their backs on anybody. Doesn't matter if you're American, doesn't matter if you're Indian, doesn't matter who you are. Well, Chesapeake was killed that day. Yes, he was. Chesapeake was killed. And Tecumseh, he started to get more and more intent on making this happen now. Because now his dad's gone, his brother's gone, his mother, she'd already left. She went to Missouri with half the tribe. Everybody's leaving. He's staying. So he gets involved with the British, and they actually make him a general of the Native Americans. Things are going to happen. Now, there had been a lot of fighting going on in the Ohio Valley with General St. Clair, and now with General Anthony Wayne. Tecumseh criticized this whole idea of peace because people were giving away land. The Indians were giving away land they didn't own. He didn't like that. Even Black Kettle. Black Kettle gave away things, and they put him what they would eventually call a reservation. And the government said, "We'll take care of you." You know what? His people were starving, folks. His people were starving. But they had to put away their guns, put down their arms, and let the government teach them how to farm. They're going to teach them how to farm? I think the Indians already taught everybody else how to farm. Something's going on here. Now, using his superior skills, over time, Tecumseh would transform his brother's religious following into a political movement, discouraging Native Americans from getting into the white world, being headquartered there in Prophetstown. Tecumseh began recruiting, like I said, all these different tribes, and it would eventually come to this. In the fall of 1811, while Tecumseh was in the South on a recruiting mission, the governor, William Henry Harrison, would attack Prophetstown. They destroyed it. They destroyed Prophetstown. They tried to rebuild it, but it just wasn't happening. A lot of people were killed. So on June 1st, 1812, the United States Congress would declare war on the Indians. Yes, they did. They declared Indians out there. And they would fight. They would fight. 1813, at the Battle of the Thames, against William Henry Harrison and the U.S. Army, Tecumseh would fight with the British. With the British. Now, there would be a lot of fighting going on there. A lot of people were going to die. So, as the British would attack, let me turn here to my one page. So I want to get the facts straight. Tecumseh would join Major General Henry Proctor, British. And together they led these forces in the siege of Fort Meigs, which was commanded by William Henry Harrison. Well, though Proctor promised Tecumseh he would send reinforcements, he never did. No, he didn't. Tecumseh had about 500 men to William Henry Harrison's 3,000 men. They were in the woods. Harrison turned his cannons on them. A lot of people died, and Tecumseh died. He saw his own death. He knew he was going to die that day. Somebody shot him twice in the chest. Next to him was his brother-in-law, Tecumseh's husband. Funny thing about that, though, as the battle was over and William Henry Harrison went looking for the body of Tecumseh, they couldn't find him. No, they could not find him. What they were doing was turning everybody over. That's not him. That's not him. Because, see, Harrison had met Tecumseh, tried to call for peace, and it wasn't happening. Now, he said, I want to see that body. I don't want to see it filleted. I don't want to see it burned. What does that mean? It meant that what they were doing with some of these Native Americans was actually skinning them. They were taking the skin right off of them, scalping some of them, and the rest just burning them in a big pile. They never did find Tecumseh's body. It is believed that Tecumseh's men carried him off the field and buried him somewhere close to the battle, as they usually do. And later on came back, and nobody knew, took his body back up again. Now, there's a couple different situations about him. They believe that they buried him on Walpole Island, overlooking the St. Clair River. And then they dug him up and put him at St. Anne's Island, outside of Moravia town. That's where they believe that he is, but not the Shawnee. No, they don't. Here's the legend. The legend is that they never did give the Americans the body of Tecumseh. Never did. Yeah, there were some veterans back in the 1900s that thought it would be kind of a great thing to build a monument to Tecumseh, and if they could only have his bones, and they got some bones, they paid for them, but I bet they weren't Tecumseh's. You see, those bones are sacred. And they believe that Tecumseh one day will rise up again and fight. I don't know about that. That's what they believe. And so those bones, what's left of Tecumseh, are sacred. I don't think they would give them up for any price. Any price. So we don't know, do we? We don't know if those bones underneath that monument up there around Lake Erie are really his or somebody else's. Well, that's just a little story of Tecumseh. I could tell you lots of stories, but I just don't have time. This is a long video. So let me get to the very end. There were people in Congress called war hawks. War hawks. They wanted war. They wanted to see war happen. With who? Not just the Indians, but with Britain, with Great Britain. Anti-British feelings were the strongest in the West and the South. Members of Congress from the West said there could be no peace in the frontier until the British were out of there. Well, that's for sure, because they kept giving guns to the Indians. Members of the Congress that lived in the South joined in for calls of strong stand against Great Britain. Many Southerners wanted to obtain Florida and Spain, Florida from Spain, who was Britain's ally at the time. Now that's strange because usually Spain likes the French, but I don't know what was going on here. Native American raiding parties acquiring Florida would appeal to some people, so maybe war would be a good thing. War is never a good thing, okay? So there was a couple reasons why there would be a call for war. Let me tell you two. First of all, U.S. citizens had two reasons they wanted to go to war, besides getting Florida and that. Native American conflicts, forcing people to have to fight the Indians to live out there because the British were supplying them arms. That's one big reason. The British were also trouble at sea. Yes, they were still impressing our ships, impressing our sailors, attacking our ships. Some people wanted Canada And some people wanted Florida too. Wow, that would be one big United States if we had all of Canada and Florida. I don't know what's down there in Florida too much besides crocodiles. But they wanted it, okay? So in 1811, 1812, the winter was so bad, that winter of 1811, 1812, that the British started to suffer. Suffer from what? Food. You know, they live on an island, folks. They live on an island. They get things from everybody else, and nobody was trading with them. Their food was scarce. Their goods were scarce. Their money was scarce. It was like they were going into a small depression. So they repealed all the orders to attack American ships and impress any sailors. How about that? Things are looking up a little bit. Well, before President Madison learned about this, that Britain had changed their minds, June 18th of 1812, he declared war on Britain. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Now what? Well, he declared war on Britain. At the same time, a ship was sending a peace offering to America to say, listen, we want to take you up on that here deal that you were talking about before because we need help. You talk about two ships passing in the night. One was going for peace, and one was going for war. What do you think's going to happen? It's too late. War's going to happen. It's going to happen. And you know, once the King of England got that letter, that here letter from the President of the United States that we want war, he said, you want it, buddy? You're going to get it. You're going to get it. And the English are coming. Yes, they are. They're coming. Will we be ready for them? No, we're still fighting the Indians out there. Well, war's coming. And Tecumseh will be part of that. When he's killed in 1813, guess what? We're already in war with England. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And what do you think they're going to call that war? The War of 1812. The War of 1812. I'm not going to tell you about it now. This is way too long for you to sit and stand and listen to old Zeke. I hope I've been a little bit interesting to you. But we come back. We're going to talk about this here War of 1812. I'll try to make it as short as I can. And it's not something that too many people talk about. No, they don't. They don't talk about it. But you know what? We could have lost this here US of A. That's how important it was. It was one of the most important wars that we had ever had as a country. One of the most important ones. Now, please, be good to each other. We're talking a lot about war here, about people hating each other. We can't hate each other. We got to start liking each other. Loving each other would even be better. So if you know somebody that you love, would you do something for me today? For something old Zeke. Right now, go in the kitchen, put your arms around him, tell him that you love him. Or her. Could be your mom. Should be your mom. Should be your dad, too. If you have brothers and sisters, tell them that you love them. All right? When we come back, we'll be talking about the War of 1812. I'll see y'all.